Hola. So, I was going to do my normal routine where I just slice the bag open and take it out and send it into the drying chamber, but something happens every time I open one of these. And I don't understand this. So we cure a whole bunch of different stuff. We do salamis, we do culatellos. Culatello is a different part of this. This is a back leg of ham. But there's something that amazing that happens with a prosciutto. And again, we're using the name prosciutto because we in America haven't created our own name for this ham that we've cured, dried, aged. But I got my little knife out because I'm going to take this one, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going to take this one and it's got a lot of drying to go. And if you're in this sport, you know that this is not a rapid. You don't get rapid gains. Gains take years and years and years and years. This is I think going on 3 years old now, and it's nowhere near its life where I'm going to start carving into it and eating it. It'll probably be a 6-year-old one before I actually start cutting into it. But the journey that it takes to get here is just incredible. And so you Vexio, you slice it open. The first thing I do anytime I do one of these, it's always the same, is I put my nose down in it. It is, and this is what I don't understand. I cure all kinds of different things. None of them smell like a jamon. And I don't know if it's the skin that stays on it, if it's the meat that's here, but I do culatellos, and that's a whole separate muscle that's in this. And it doesn't smell like that. The smell that comes out of this is just absolutely incredible. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to show you. And I will say this has a funkiness to it. This is not this will be one of those that when you taste it, and again, this is only maybe 3 years old at this part. I have to look at the label to know exactly when I put it in. Oh my God. So, and here's your secret. Because I know the smell, the flavor that's in this bag, I am literally going to take this bag and save it. I'm going to put it in one of my chambers over there to keep it. And the next ham that I need to take out from its drying stage and vacuum seal it is going in this bag, because there's something going on in there that is, oh my goodness. And you can see the juices going in there. Right there. Now, if you could bottle that and sell it, and I know, so I can already smell there's alcohol in it. I can smell that right now. There's alcohol in this glass too, and I'm glad you reminded me of that. You know, you just don't want to sit around and evaporate. These type of things here, we put on different bones and like over here, so it doesn't puncture your vac seal bag. Oh my God. So in the world of this and the certain type of cultures and bacteria that you want growing, that they do certain things, molds and organisms, they go in and react with the proteins and the enzymes, and they create things and they change things. But most importantly, they change the flavor of it. They give the meat so much more depth and so much more, I want to say, funkiness. Now, this is also one that I know that after I cured it with salt, I went ahead and left it on the counter, I'm going to guess 5 days, which is at room temperature. At that time, you know, because we lived in a different place, which was actually warm and comfortable, unlike this place, which is always cold. But I left it on the counter for 5 days at probably 75 degrees to let it build a certain ferment out of it, a natural ferment. And I have to tell you, what I'm getting right now, what's coming off of this smell right now is just incredible. And I say incredible, you know, I like my stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love my stuff, right? So I'm kind of biased about it. But I have not smelled anything like this in any of the stuff that I have done. Now, I will say this. We have some interesting colors that I'm not entirely used to. Here, we've got some darker grays. None of this that I can tell is any, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Seriously. This is one of the best smelling. It's almost like a fermented corn. And I know, so this was raised by Joe Green down in Lexington, Ohio, a homesteader down there that has taught me a tremendous amount about raising pigs and about taking care of them and harvesting them. I've done a number of harvests at his farm, Liberty Farms, I believe is the name of his farm, but good friend too. And I know what he fed him, this pig, and I can smell it right now. You can smell it literally coming out. It's like a fermented corn. And this is what I'm talking about. If you raise your own animals and you know what you're feeding it, and you're feeding it only the good stuff. When I say the good stuff, the non-GMOs, don't feed it any junk, don't feed it any crap. You can tell that in the meat. You can tell that in the flavor of the fat that's inside there. One of the first things we do when we take down an animal, generally, is we'll cut a little bit of the fresh fat while the animal's still warm sitting there and just taste that. We pass a little sliver around of just the back fat, and you can literally taste what that pig has been eating for the last however many, you know, we generally take pigs down that are years old. This one was not. This was probably 6 or 8 months old. But in either case, the aroma of what that pig has eaten comes out in the flesh, in the fat, in the meat. If he was given, you know, good foods that weren't just 100% grains. And I know these pigs, they were free range. And he's got more, I'm sure. They lived on a beautiful farm, and they had access to indoors, outdoors, 24/7. There were cows around, and cats, and chickens, and rabbits, and these pigs had a great time. Every time we would go over, and we would bring them acorns, and we would bring them apples and walnuts, and every time we would go over, they would always come running right up to the fence, kind of like they knew me. But I think it was more because they're like, hey, who's that weirdo? Let's go see what kind of an odd fella right there. Let's go check him out. But I love almost every pig that we've ever harvested, and Joe let me harvest this one myself with his expert guidance and some other great folks that were with us. But with every pig I take down and that we cure with, generally I've gone to the farm or the location and either helped take that pig down or taken that pig down myself. And of course now here at Parlor Farms we get to do that you know, when we want to and when we get scheduled. But it's our own pigs now, and I really like that. I really just think there's something very special about raising a beautiful animal that is happy his entire life, and you give it all kinds of love, and you give it wonderful foods, and you give it healthy food, so they always feel good. You know, I'm not one that believes in giving the pigs a lot of sugar or any type of treats, because just like humans, we have the insulin high, and the body comes down, and you have the crash, and you know, I don't want them to be that lethargic, and you can see it in their playful attitude when you go out and play with them in the field, and they're just all bouncing around, and they love that. They love the pasture and the, you know, today we fed them bark. Literally, we chopped up a whole bunch of wood here and a whole bunch of bark left over, and I took it. They love it, and you can't get anything more natural than that. So they're a little afraid to see what their poops are like tomorrow. But in either case, raising pigs in such a happy environment, and people say, well, they only have one bad day. When you're raised like this, they only have one bad day. And I can tell you this, even though Amos is the recent one we took down, even though Amos's takedown was not a great takedown, he did not have a bad time during it. You know, Amos was a big pig. He injured himself here and there, and he would hurt himself. They've run into metal posts that stick out like this that bury themselves, 4 inches into their body, and they pull out, and they squeal, and for 2 days they're down on the ground, sometimes frothing at the mouth, and we don't give them anything for that. We let them work it out themselves. And that's painful, but there's a comfort because they know as long as they see you, I'm their caretaker, handler, as long as they see you, they're okay. And I was with Amos the entire time when I took him down, and even though it didn't go, 100% smooth, I could see the acceptance, I could see the love that was in his eyes. He didn't run from me, even when he was hurt and I had to go and take him down a second time. He laid down so that it would be much easier for me. And there was not a time, even when he was up and moving around after the first time I tried to take him down, there was not a time where I ever felt scared or nervous that he was looking to me for comfort. He's like, hey, something hurts. Hey, that kind of hurts. And it's just such a weird, intimate feeling that you have with your animals, that they trust you enough that they let you approach them even when they're hurting in a situation like that. Now the other pigs like, hey, we're getting the hell out of here, got to go. But Amos was like, all right, I'm hurting, and whenever I hurt, I always come to you. And that's kind of neat. And so I don't think Amos, even in his last minutes, had a bad day. He had hurt himself again and was looking for comfort from me. And understand the depth at which I feel that. It's tremendous. But in the end, we get stuff like this that lasts for years, and Amos will go on for years. This was Ginger. Ginger was as equally a beautiful pig and as well taken care of. And Ginger, she's gonna have a long life. I'll be honest with you. You cut off just a little bit of this once a year, and you can share it all year long. Just a few slices here and there. It's like, oh my God, I remember that taste, because each one tastes different. And this is what's so amazing about minimally spiced. Each pig you do tastes a little bit different, depending on where it was raised, what you gave it. But don't give it a lot of spice. You give it salt. Traditionally, literally, it's just salt. But I do salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, sometimes a little bit of sugar, but just a tiny amount, just enough to cure it in a safe manner. And I, you can tell I get deeply into this, but I'm just amazed that the connection between a farmer and his animals, and people don't realize, people go to grocery stores and you get the stuff in the cellophane, and I do it, I still do it. This week I went and got some beautiful things, but there's a connection between the farmer, whether you're raising 40 pigs a year or 4,000 pigs a year, there's a connection between a farmer and his animals that people don't fully understand, and they should, because it takes a lot to raise an animal. It takes a lot more to give up that animal. Oh, that's funky right there. That's funky. I love it. I wish you could smell it, and at some point I'm sure you all get to taste it in some way, some capacity. But we're going to go ahead and I'm not going to touch this. I'm not going to thing to it. I'm going to put it in the aging chamber, and we're going to drop another probably 5 to 7% of its weight over the next 20 to 30 days. And then we'll see what we're going to do. At some point, I'm going to cover this with the sunga. And that will slow down the weight loss, the water evaporation out of it. But I also believe that massaging the muscle like this during the cure helps it tremendously. Now, I'm not pushing on the muscle at all, but I am showing it a little love. I'm a little weirdo, as you well know. Anyway, that's what I have today. I got one more to do there, tear a catch. I feel equally the same love about that. That's another ham that I know was raised absolutely tremendously with great love and brought to me to cure and age. And I cannot wait to one day take it back to her. But I'm not giving it back to her till it's done. Sorry. And you'll be the first one I try it with. I'm telling you that. But I'm not giving it back till it's properly done and has had the full benefit of my chambers, which have had many years now of stuff to grow in them. I'm keeping these gloves too, by the way. I'm just telling you these. Oh my God. Anyway, have a good day.